What is up, YouTube family? My name is Daniel Walcott, and welcome back to my channel where we talk about all things real estate, wealth building, and home ownership. Today, I have a video out there for all of those who are looking to purchase a home but don't know where to start. I am going to take you from A to Z when it comes to purchasing a home for yourself and your family. I've never done this kind of video before, but I get these questions all the time. And so for those who are starting out doing their research, this is step number one, right? Before you reach out to an agent, before you reach out to a lender, you need to watch this video because I'm going to take you step by step, and I'm not going to waste any time. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Yeah, they tryna at me, I'm running the race. I gotta pick up the pace. They throwing shade, but I'm gone. You gotta keep it a buck to my face.
So you're looking to purchase a home. The first thing that you want to do is map out what I call your home buying timeline, right? Usually people will kind of take that next step, pull that trigger when they have a lease that's coming up that's supposed to be renewed, and they're just kind of thinking to themselves, well, hey, I've been renting for a while, or my rent is about to go up. Let me look at buying, right? Other people may be staying with family. Other people, it may be like a savings goal that they're kind of saving up for. Either way, this timeline that I'm about to give you is for everybody. Anybody can use it, right? Okay, so the first thing that you want to figure out is, when is your last lease payment? When is your lease actually up? If you're month to month, then it depends on whenever you want to leave, right? If you're staying with your family or you're living for free, some kind of situation like that, again, same thing. It's more of a savings goal. But for a lot of people who are renting, you need to figure out when is your last lease payment, because that's going to be factored into our timeline. So once you have that down, next you have to figure out, well, when do you actually want to move into your new home? Once you close on a property, in most cases, you can move in that same day. So if your lease was up in November and you have a closing date in October, you know that you can move in once you're able to close. Like, you don't have to wait for your lease to be up to move into your new home. So figure out when your lease is up. Next is, when do you actually want to move into your new home? So let's just use some examples. So let's say my lease is up in March and I want to be in my home in March. Cool. That makes sense. I feel like most people will feel that way. So the next thing is, all right, well, when do you actually have to take ownership and close? If I want to move into my home in March, I need to close in either February or March. So now I have those dates lined up. February or March for taking ownership, March to move in. March is also when my last lease payment is. All right, next, under contract. When do you have to be under contract in order to take ownership and close in February and March? Now, I'm a realtor in the DMV area, and in our market, it typically takes anywhere from 30 to 45 days to close. 30 days is, I would say, a little more than average. In our area, 45 days is a longer time period. Usually it's 45 if you have a slow lender, if you're using a program that needs to take more time, or there may be like some other circumstances that we'll talk about later. But typically it's going to be 30 days. So if I want to take ownership and close in February or March, that means I need to be under contract in December or January. If I'm under contract in January, I'm going to close in February. If I'm under contract in December, I will close you'll close typically in January. Okay, cool. We have that. The next date is, when do you actually need to start looking at properties? And so if I want to close in December, if I want to be under contract in December or January, I want to give myself, especially in this market where we have limited inventory, I may want to give myself about 3 months or so of actively looking. Now, some people need more time. Some people need less time. I would say give yourself at least 3 months, the minimum, right? And this also depends on the type of inventory. And so while you may not know what the inventory looks like, you can go to Zillow and Redfin and just kind of search the type of property that you're looking for. If you have a lot of results, then there's a lot of inventory that fits your criteria. If not, it's going to take you a little bit longer in order to find the home that's right for you. So 3 months, you can obviously do it in less. I've had clients who we were out in a month and they found the home that they were looking for, and we went under contract and closed. So for everybody, it's different, but that's my advice there. All right, so now if we're going to be under contract, let's say in January, that means we need to start looking at least by October. So give us October, November, December, enough time to kind of look and see what's on the market, maybe put some offers in, things like that. Cool. Now, the next date in the timeline that's important is the pre-approval, right? So the pre-approval lasts, I want to say about like 90 days. Sometimes it depends on the lender. Between 90 and 120 days is the amount of time that your pre-approval lasts. Now, when you're looking to renew your pre-approval, you don't have to do the process all over again. The lender may ask for some updated docs. They may pull credit, maybe not, but it's nothing to worry about. So if we're saying that you need to get pre-approved, it has to be before you actually go out and start looking at properties, because you don't want to waste your agent's time and you don't want to waste your time looking at properties that's not within the budget that you and your lender has set for yourself. So if we're going to start looking in October, you at least want to be pre-approved by October, but it can also be September, August. I would say maybe about 2 months, 1 month before you're actually ready to start looking. That's when you want to start shopping around. Excuse me. That's when you actually want to start shopping around for lenders and actually get a pre-approval. Cool. So we're pre-approved. Now, before we go out and get that pre-approval, you want to have your finances in order, right? This means something different for everybody. It could mean building up your credit. It could mean building up your savings. If you're going after for that new job so you have more income, it could mean getting that job so you have more income. Getting your finances in order is just you making sure that you're in an okay place when you go to submit that application for a pre-approval. And again, notice I said okay. You don't have to be in peak perfect financial shape in order to get pre-approved, because if you're working with a good lender, they're actually going to work through your finances with you. Notice I didn't say pay off debt, right? You don't have to pay off debt in order to get pre-approved. You can pay down debt if that's part of you getting your finances in order, or maybe you have some high credit card debt that you want to start working on. You can do that, but don't go crazy paying off all this debt thinking it's going to make a huge difference, because it may not, right? It actually may be more advantageous for you to have money in your bank account versus having less debt. And we'll talk about debt later in the video, but that is your home buying timeline. So step number 1, get your home buying timeline in order. As you noticed, I like to work my way back. So the first thing is last lease payment. When do you want to move into your new home? When do you want to take ownership and close on that new home? Which reflects on when we're going to go under contract. From there, are we actually going to start looking? From there, when are we going to get pre-approved? And then from there, when are we going to have our finances in order? Cool. If you have any questions about that, leave them in the comments. I'll do a follow-up video maybe with everything that you guys want me to go deeper on. I have no problem doing that. All right, cool. So we have mapped out our home buying timeline. Congratulations, you've completed step 1. Let's move on to step 2. Step 2 is finding an agent and going through a buyer's consultation. Super important that you go through a buyer's consultation when you're meeting with an agent, right? It's super easy to look up an agent online or just kind of give one a call, or maybe even go to Redfin or Zillow, say, hey, I want to see this property. That's not how you want to go about it. And if you're working with a savvy agent, they're going to want to sit you down anyway, right? I mean, you're not buying a watch, right? You're not buying something off Amazon. Like, this is a home. So you want to make sure that you're meeting with somebody who's going to be able to tell you a little bit about the market that you're buying in, address your questions and concerns, and then educate you about the process and the market. Now, you're going to go into that meeting already educated because you're watching this video. But I think when you go into those consultations with some form of knowledge about the process, you can have a higher level conversation. So watch this video, do the buyer's consultation with whatever agent you choose, and then thank me later. All right, finding an agent. I recommend finding an agent like you would find any other service professional. You can go online, you can go on Google, check out reviews. Like, if you were looking for a plumber, what would you do? Maybe you'll type in plumber in Google, you'll find who the best person is, and then you'll reach out to them. Don't make it more difficult than it has to be. You can also reach out to your friends and family. If you know anybody who's purchased a home in your area, you can reach out to them, ask them about their experience. If they like their agent, say, hey, do you mind introducing me, or do you mind giving me the number so I can give them a call? Agents love that. I know personally I love that when my past clients introduce me to their friends and family. It makes it that much better, honestly, because if I like you and we work well together, I know the people that you're going to introduce me to, I'm going to work well with them as well. So that's probably the easiest way to find a real estate agent. Now, you may hear in this video me use the term real estate agent and realtor. They are used interchangeably by many, but there are some slight differences. A realtor is a member of the National Association of Realtors. It's an organization, and they have a higher set of standards that they hold their agents to, both professionally and ethically. A real estate agent is someone who's licensed to help people buy and sell real estate, but they're not a member of that organization, right? So realtor is a real estate agent, but a real estate agent is not always a realtor. A broker is an agent who can have other agents working under them, and they bear the legal responsibility of those agents. So don't get so caught up in, I want to work with a real estate broker, real estate agent, realtor. It's all the same. I mean, if you work with a broker, they could have maybe a team. They may not even be in production. So just find a realtor or a real estate agent that you think you're going to work well with. Interview them, go through the buyer's consultation, and then you will be all set. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Now, in order to hire a buyer's agent, you do have to sign what's called a buyer's agency agreement. And I know you'll probably hear it. Not every agent requires a buyer's agency agreement in order to show you properties or in order for them to work with you. You will eventually end up signing one, whether it be in the beginning of the process, in the middle, or at the very end when they're submitting their compliance documents. But you will sign one. But not all agents are going to require it. The buyer agency agreement is there to outline the expectations of both you as the buyer and your buyer's agent, right? Without having that agency agreement in place, you're not a client, you're just a customer. And so the difference between a client and a customer really comes down to the information that I can provide you, and really to me, right? Not to everybody, but to me at least, if I have a client who signed an agreement and maybe a customer who I'm just working with, maybe I'm giving them advice, I have an actual responsibility to the person who signed that agreement, right? That's literally what it says in the agency agreement. And so if both of them want to look at a property, or if both of them are interested in something, I have to prioritize my clients over my customers. And so I do think it behooves you to sign a agency agreement. Some people are worried about it. Just read through it. It's typically a 2-page document. When you're hiring a buyer's agent, everybody runs their business differently, but there is typically no out-of-pocket cost to work with a buyer's agent. My services to my clients are completely free to them. The seller typically pays the buyer's agent's commission, right? I'll explain real quickly how that works. So you have a listing agent and a buyer's agent. The listing agent represents the seller. The buyer's agent represents the buyer. Now, before the seller puts their property on the market, they discuss compensation with the listing agent. Hey, we'll pay your broker this much. And in that agreement, it says if cooperating broker or agent brings a buyer, you can pay them, or you'll pay them this much, right? That's all kind of laid out beforehand. And so because of that, you as a buyer won't have to come out of pocket to pay me anything. So when we're kind of sitting down doing the consultation, when we're going out looking at properties, submitting offers, there's no cost to do that, which is typically why buyer agents would like for their customers, right, to become clients and sign the agency agreement, because we do all this work with no promise of getting paid, right? I mean, I've been in a ton of situations where I've gone out, shown people properties, and then they signed with a different agent, right? Or their mom got licensed, so all of a sudden now they want to use their mom instead, right? When you don't have to pay me anything to show you these properties, to educate you on the process, but for agents, that agency agreement is there to kind of protect us and protect our time. Trying to see if there's anything else. So typically a part of the agency agreement, there is going to be some type of broker fee. That fee is paid at closing, a part of your closing costs. So that even if you see it on the agency agreement, that is not an out-of-pocket cost or anything like that. That is a fee that doesn't go to the agent. It goes directly to the broker as a broker fee. So that is your buyer consultation and agency agreement. Let's move on to mortgage pre-approval. So you're going through this process. There are going to be, you're kind of building a team, right? You're the captain. Your co-captain is your agent. Your second in command is going to be your mortgage lender. You guys need to work as a team. The reason this is important, because there's a lot of moving pieces, right? And you don't want, you want one side to know what the other side is doing so you guys can be cohesive. And so sometimes you'll use a mortgage lender that your agent recommends. And sometimes maybe you'll find somebody else. Maybe it's your local bank if you have a friend who's in the mortgage business, or you have a referral from a family member or something like that. Make the introduction, right? Just say, hey, look, so-and-so, hey, Daniel, this is my mortgage lender. Like he's worked with my sister or my brother or my family. Mortgage lender, this is my agent, this is who I'm working with, right? Just make that connection so they can talk, everybody's on the same page, and you guys can move forward. Now, when it comes to selecting a lender, you have a couple different types of options. First of all, you typically have, let's call it 3 types of banks. You have your large banks such as your Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Chase Bank. You have your credit unions, Navy Fed, and the other ones that are out there. You have your mortgage companies. Now, your mortgage companies are going to be not small, but smaller lenders that you probably wouldn't necessarily have heard of unless you're in this home buying process, right? However, to me, more likely than not, those are going to be your best options, and I'll tell you why. So when you're dealing with the with mortgage lenders who only work for mortgage companies, right? Meaning that you can't go there and open checkings or savings account. Like, they only do mortgages, and that's why I would recommend using them, because you're generally going to get a better experience, right? They have more products for you to choose from. They typically can close faster and work faster, and in a competitive market, that's going to be advantageous. And generally they have the best products that are going to be available for you. And when it comes to like first-time homebuyer programs and stuff like that, like, they're typically able to do a lot of those programs. Now, sometimes your larger banks will have more competitive interest rates. I have seen that lately, where you can get a better rate with maybe Bank of America, Wells Fargo, but the service that you get is so bad. And I can say that just across the board. The service is so bad. But as a buyer, you need to look out for yourself. So what I say is, get pre-approved by at least 2 or 3 lenders, right? Maybe one credit union, one large bank, and one mortgage company, and just kind of see what works, right? See what programs they're offering, see what interest rate they're offering, and see who's giving you the better service, right? The reason why I like your mortgage lenders who work for the mortgage companies is because I can reach them on their cell phone at 5:30, right? When you're off of work and maybe we're looking at properties and offers are due in the morning or that night, I can call my lender. I say, hey, look, we need a letter to submit. You can't reach somebody at Bank of America during business hours. So, I mean, not a shot at Bank of America, but they're one of them it's tough. So get pre-approved by at least 3 lenders, see what your options are, right? And by options, I mean loan options. So let's talk about loan options. Now, as a first-time home buyer, second-time home buyer, you typically will have 2 options, right? The most popular is going to be FHA and conventional. Conventional for first-time home buyers offers 3% down. FHA for first, second, whoever time home buyers will offer 3.5% down. If you are a veteran or active duty military, you may qualify for the VA loan. VA loan offers 0% down, and they also have competitive interest rates as well. If you live in a rural area, well, not live, but if you're looking to purchase a home in a rural area, you can qualify for what's known as a USDA loan. That's like FHA and VA. It's a federally backed loan. I think federal backed loan is federal. It's a government backed loan. See, I like that. It's a government backed loan. So USDA also offers 0% down, which is also known as 100% financing. So when you say 100% financing, it means you don't have to put down a down payment in order to purchase the land or the property. But for most people, you'll definitely fall in between either FHA or conventional. Pros and cons. One of the benefits, and I did a whole video on FHA loans, so I'll go ahead and link that so you can kind of become familiar with that. But there are pros and cons of both. I really don't want to go into the weeds for this video. Maybe I'll make another one to kind of highlight the differences between the two. But there are pros and cons. Talk to your lender about it, or wait until I drop that video and watch that video. Trying to see if there's anything else. Okay. So if you are single and you are going through the mortgage pre-approval process, obviously it's just going to be you on the loan. If you wanted to purchase a property either with your partner or a sibling or a parent, and you want both of you guys to be on the loan, then both of you guys will have to submit an application. Now, what that means is that the lender is going to look through your income, your debt, and your credit. Now, the benefit of having two people going on a mortgage is that both of your incomes are used to qualify you for that mortgage. Both of your debt are also used to qualify you for that mortgage. However, only the lower credit score of the two is used to qualify you for that mortgage. So, if you have, if you're in a relationship and your significant other has a 600 credit score, and you say, "Man, well, I've been like kind of getting my finances in order. I have a 730." The lender's not even going to look at the 730. Like, you did all that work. Sorry to say for nothing, but when it comes to this process, for nothing, because they're not even considering it. They're only looking at the lowest, the middle score of the lowest person. So I say that to say you want to be strategic on who's going to be on the loan, right? Just because you guys are purchasing the home together doesn't mean you both have to be on the loan. So if it makes most sense for you to kind of qualify more and maybe both you guys are in good credit shape, going in on it together. If not, one person could be on the loan and both you guys can still be on the title if you so choose. So, want to give you some information on that. Let's talk about, how long has this video been so far? Maybe I'll do a part two. I know I said if you watch this video, you'll know everything that you need to know, but there is a lot. In the next video, I'm going to talk about the home search. So we've talked about your home buying timeline. We've talked about the buyer consultation, and we've talked about getting pre-approved. I think that's good right now. Next video, we'll talk about the home search. Again, if you guys have any questions or comments, leave them in the comment section and I will address them in the next video. Peace.